Welcome back to Eugene, Oregon, where the home team has the 1-point lead at the half, 14-13 over Washington. 44,134 in attendance today, the 12th largest crowd in the history of Autzen Stadium. And it's been a first half, John Spagnola, that really was dictated by the Oregon defense. They time and time again stopped Washington on big plays, especially third down.
Well, they needed field position. They got that from a kickoff return by Ricky Whittle. They got the turnover from Alex Molden. But it's been an ugly duckling offense for Oregon, as they haven't been able to put much yards on the board today. They're winning 14-13. It's because they only had to go 13 yards for one touchdown and 18 yards for another.
Yeah, offensively, Oregon really has to get something going, I think, in the air as well, as we take a look at the first half stats and what they did in the first half. Look at the total yards. 55 yards for Oregon offensively, passing yards 17, but as you said, the turnover really the big part of the first half.
Sure, that created the field position. Those 55 yards, keep in mind, that's 2.4 yards per play. That's not per rush, that's per play, and it's been an anemic attack so far. But again, Oregon's doing a great job, and again, they had the kickoff return, then they had this key turnover by Alex Molden, who just undercut Eric Bjornsson. And that set up the second touchdown today for the Ducks, and that got them right back into this game. This is the first touchdown. Dino Filial, who took the ball around his left side and extended right at the very end. Watch how he's able just to lunge and reach and get that ball over the end zone for the touchdown.
So they made the most of it when they did get good field position, but Oregon has been backed up a number of times. Washington, on the other hand, has had long drives, two of them resulting in field goals and another in a touchdown. You look at Ricky Whittle's 2-yard run into the end zone, and that's where we are at the half. Oregon with a 14-13 lead, and the second half is underway. Rashawn Sheehy takes it and finds a seam on the far side out to the 37-yard line, but there's a flag down. Sheehy, a backup tailback, redshirt freshman out of Bakersfield, California. And so we start the second half much like we played the first half. A lot of flags, a lot of penalties in that first half. And Washington will be backed up. Jim Lambright, in his second year, you talk about taking over in a tough spot. Most of you know about it.
At the spot of the foul.
They went 7-4 last year after taking over a couple of weeks before the start of the season for Don James, a longtime head coach, and Jim Lambright, an assistant for Don James, has been a part of this program for some 30 years now.
Yeah, not only last year, I mean, he had to take over at the line. He couldn't, I mean, he was the head coach, but he was also the defensive coordinator and linebacker coach last year. So it was a lot to ask of one man.
Here's Kaufman to the near side, and he breaks it. There's a flag thrown. Napoleon Kaufman down the sidelines to midfield. Alex Molden knocked him out at the 50-yard line, but this may come back.
Yeah, the flag was thrown, definitely, as you said, because it went about 20 yards in the air. It looked like a firework going off. It was thrown so far, it distracted, I think, everybody who was watching this somewhat majestic run by Kaufman.
Well, Kaufman had the 37-yard run in the first half, and he breaks another one, but they'll bring this one back.
On the offense, half the distance. First down, Phil.
We'll take a look and see if we can find where the hold occurred. See if the umpire threw the flag from the left side. Everything looks pretty good so far. You know, I don't see anything right there represented holding, but it was thrown on the left side of that offensive line, so somebody had to create an infraction that the umpire saw.
So half the distance, they're at the 8-yard line. First down and 16 now. Huard back to throw. Flushed out of the pocket and overthrows Eric Bjornsson, and that's no small task. Bjornsson at 6'5", and Huard down again. That's a familiar sight. We've seen it all day.
Yeah, and you can see Huard, this pass rush, this relentless attack on him today physically is starting to wear him down. Take a look at Napoleon Kaufman. But, you know, let's watch Huard here. He gets excited. You You know, he's been knocked around a little bit. He's hurting. That knee is hurting it. And this ball is thrown too hard and too high. And again, he's roughed up again by that Oregon defense. So that's a sign of a quarterback that's becoming a little bit unglued. It would have affected him a lot more earlier in his career, but I still think he has the stuff to hang in there and play well today.
Delay to Kaufman over the middle and wrapped up at the 14-yard line. A fine tackle by Kenny Wheaton. He had him with one hand, and you rarely see Napoleon Kaufman go down with an arm tackle. Kenny Wheaton, a redshirt freshman out of Phoenix, had a big game against Southern Cal. Had an interception, a key deflected pass, which stopped the drive. That was really a big win for these Ducks.
Yeah, he was the Pac-10 co-defensive player of the week after that big win against USC.
So the crowd to its feet once again. Early here in the second half, 3rd down and 11 coming up. The ball's on the 13-yard line. And back is Huard. He's going to run, and he's going to be dumped in the backfield again. Bryant Jackson got him in the backfield. And this has been a relentless pass rush for the Ducks all day long.
Well, Bryant Jackson came to the game with 2.5 sacks. But that sack you have to credit to the great defensive coverage by that secondary for the Ducks, as Huard had no place to go with the football and just pulled it down, and Jackson threw him to the ground.
So Jeff Prince in to punt out of his end zone. And Herman O'Berry back at his own 45. Low snap. Prince gets it off. And O'Berry at the 45-yard line and taken down at the 43. And Oregon will have good field position as they take over. 33-yard punt, 4-yard return. Back in a moment.
He's limping.
Yeah, he is.
They try and strip him.
Leather, Molson Ice. Ice brewed by North America's oldest brewery to be bolder and bolder. Gets smooth as ice. Molson Ice, from the land where ice was born.
What time will my daughter be home?
The passive type probably plays Nintendo.
What time will my daughter be home?
Somewhere between 10 and 2.
The aggressive type probably plays Sega.
What time will my daughter be home?
You want her back?
And the other type definitely plays 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. Now $3.99 plus free games.
Last year, no one showed. Not one maker of sports cars anywhere could step up to Pontiac Firebird Formula's challenge to match our standard dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, and 275 horsepower, even at almost twice the price. And this year, we're still waiting.
The Oilers try to catch the Eagles in flight. It's Houston at Philly here on Monday night.
We've talked about all the injuries to this Oregon team all year long. Herman O'Berry, who returned that last punt, was on the sideline. And they were working, it looked like, on his hamstring. And Kyle Strait is now in at center for the injured Mark Gregg, who strained his knee. So you've got a redshirt freshman in there at center for Oregon. And the pitch back, they want to throw it. Ricketts can't. Brought down at the 48-yard line. Richie Chambers read it well. They wanted to throw that on the tailback option.
Actually, I think that's Damon Ricketts who was going to throw it there. Look down. Paul Wiggins now is holding his knee, as we've had a rash of injuries now for the Oregon Ducks. He's writhing in pain on the ground, and he did have a banged-up knee earlier. Got into the lineup today as a starter, and it looks like he's re-injured that right knee.
Well, you've had Harden go down. You've had Baldwin and guard go down. They're out. You've had Gregg go down. And Wiggins, and Rich Brooks doesn't look concerned, but you know he has to be.
3-14 against Washington. It's a record I'm sure he's not totally proud of, but it's an intense rivalry here in the Pacific Northwest. Believe me, everybody gets up for this football game. Let's see what happened to Paul Wiggins. He's lined up at right tackle. It's the left side of your screen, and as they try and set up this option pass, oh yeah, the pile just falls on his right knee and rolls under him, and that is a difficult injury to deal with. He had no chance to pull his ankle out from underneath, and as a result of that, that joint, that right ankle, or the right knee, is what took all the pressure. You know, what's interesting there is that was Ricketts was in the backfield as tailback. I mean, he's lined up. He's a wide receiver on this team, but he lined up at tailback there, so that was an alert for that Husky defense.
Yeah, Chambers read it well. Well, tomorrow night on ABC, an all-new Funniest Home Videos, followed by new episodes of On Our Own and Lois and Clark. Then Arnold's back in one of his biggest, Terminator 2, on the Sunday night movie tomorrow on ABC.
But you have to credit that Husky defense with player and personnel recognition. Wide receivers in the backfield. He's a former high school quarterback. He's thrown some balls. They didn't buy it, and they didn't go for the option fake. They went right after him.
So the Ducks backed up again, 2nd and 19. O'Neal wants to throw a screen, and he throws it to, Bilyaw, who almost caught that thing. Almost a Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch.
Yeah, well, it's very hard to throw a screen pass against anything but a zone defense. Let's watch 54, Ink Aliaga. Now he comes through, but he sees number 12, and now he realizes I've got this guy in coverage, and he runs to the play. So it's good recognition by him. These kind of plays, screens work very well against zones because people drop back in the football field and they lose sight of the underneath people, the halfbacks or whatever. But there, Aliaga was locked up, and he ran and was able to defend that play quite well.
Bilyaw straight up the middle and down to the 43-yard line, back to the original line of scrimmage, but well short. And so they go to the run on 3rd and 19. One of the reasons Danny O'Neal 1 of 6 today for 17 yards. Not the numbers he would hope for.
Well, they tried to razzle-dazzle on 1st down. They had plus territory field position. It's the 3rd time today they've been starting inside the Husky 50-yard line. But with the negative yardage on 1st down, once again, Oregon not able to overcome that negative yardage on this series of downs.
Belden back to punt again. We got Neal back at his own 15-yard line. Calls for the fair catch at the 13-yard line. So Washington will take over at the 15. Punt of 30 yards. No return. Back after this.
What am I doing here with you?
You're my brother. It's your genetic obligation to help me.
Right. So, the Grand Am has a 150 horsepower engine, standard.
Oh, it is a blast to drive, and the balance shaft makes it smooth as silk.
Standard airbag and anti-lock brakes. Exactly.
You know the Grand Am costs thousands less than the Accord or the Camry?
Really?
Yep, I researched it.
Well, you've made a smart choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what am I doing here?
You're helping me pick out a color.
Color. Yeah.
Outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going.
Ever wonder how remotes get lost? Well, no matter how your remote gets lost, Magnavox makes the only television that can find it. With the exclusive remote locator, you just push a button, and your remote beeps, telling you where it is. Hey, we make technology people want. Magnavox. Smart. Very smart.
College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And the beer that's colder, bolder, yet smooth as ice, Molson Ice from Canada, the land where ice was born. 11:38 left in the 3rd quarter here at Autzen Stadium. And the Ducks happy about the way things have gone to this point. They lead Washington 14-13, but now Washington takes over at its own 13-yard line. Thomas and Kaufman in the backfield. Here's Napoleon. Dances through the middle. And a gain of about 4 or 5. And that's a play where you give it to an ordinary back, and maybe he gets 1 or 2 at the most. But Kaufman with that second gear takes it ahead for 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's hard to find him, too. I mean, he squirts around at 5'9" when he gets balled up there, and with all the big offensive and defensive linemen, you see. Now watch, 85, Mark Bruner will pull. This is a counter trap play. Instead of pulling a backside tackle, they use the tight end, 85, who gets a good block there. Kaufman's able to use that block and get through, so it's good yardage on first down.
Actually gained 6. Here he is again, trying to get away from a man in the backfield, and does. To the 22, there's a flag on the far side of the field. You know, Napoleon Kaufman's got so much energy. That's what really, when you spend some time around him, he stands out. I mean, he never stops. You know, and he has talked about his midnight runs.
Anybody goes jogging at midnight because he's got some energy that he wants to wear down. Is definitely a guy with just a great attitude toward life, a great attitude toward football. And, you know, the old adage there is if you're doing it and they're sleeping, you're getting an edge on your competition.
Well, that's what he said, at least mentally. He knows that there's nobody else out there at 1 in the morning running. And he's probably right. At the beginning of the year, I'm not sure there were a whole lot of believers in Napoleon in terms of the Heisman, but there sure are now. And there's one of them.
Holding out there, 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Second down 13 at the Husky 11.
A little ice cream out here. And not all of it in the mouth.
I've got a napkin up here in the booth for you.
There's Kaufman again. To the outside. And out to the 17, and again the speed and the bounce to the outside for Napoleon Kaufman. Kenny Wheaton made the stop, along with Alex Molden. I think this man right here has got to be on even par with anybody right now for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I think he does, too, and it's because of his ability not here. Watch how he's able to see here and cut back underneath Jeff Sherman, 32, who flashed there. I mean, that's what the great backs do. They set things up, they stretch, they see a seam, they have the speed, and then they hit that seam. And, you know, that's what Kaufman does so well.
3rd down and 6, another big 3rd down for Washington, the 17. Over the middle, Bjornsson, did he hang on?
Bjornsson pass.
No,
he bobbled it.
At first they ruled it a catch, and then they changed their mind. And Bjornsson is livid. And so is Jim Lambright.
Lambright upset with his offense and the way they're doing things right now. They're not moving the football effectively. Let's see if Bjornsson gets his hands underneath this ball and makes the catch. There he is, control. Oh, that's a drop. That's an accurate call. That's
oh, yeah. You didn't waffle at all.
No, I didn't. That umpire was right there, and he saw that ball squirt out at the very end.
You're right. He had it at first, and then it did squirt to the ground. Oh, under pressure, Prince gets it away. And O'Berry back in. Did not call for the fair catch, and now he's stripped. And the Huskies have it at the 34-yard line. There is a flag down. And we'll have to wait and see what that's all about. Herman O'Berry never called for the fair catch.
No, he didn't. And this, if it is in fact a turnover, I think it is, because the penalty will be against Oregon, it's really going to hurt the Ducks because they enjoyed such good field position so far in this game. This is critical to their winning the football game. But O'Berry was locked in with the defender. It was like 2 Rams knocking heads.
Yeah,
there's O'Berry, number 4.
Watch how close.
And he's there with Tony Parrish, number 7, who made that great play on special teams earlier when he batted the ball away.
5-yard penalty. Fire the foul. First down.
And the ruling is that O'Berry was not given any space to catch the ball.
Yeah, there is a buffer zone that you have to allow the punt returner around 2 yards. And let's see if Parrish allows that. He's right on top of him right there. That's a real close call. It could have gone either way. And because of that call, the turnover that Washington gets is nullified.
Well,
and Lambright is livid.
Yeah, and I don't blame him because he was given every opportunity to catch the ball. And now Ricky Whittle will try the far side, trying to get outside, and gains about 8 before he's collared and knocked out of bounds by Ink Aliaga. But back to the call, John. I mean, if you look at the intent of the rule, it's to not interfere with the receiver's ability to catch the football, and he wasn't at all. I mean, I'm not sure that you throw the flag on that.
It didn't seem to hamper O'Berry's ability to catch the ball, and Lambright, you know, was so upset there. Let's see if is the fact that he is so upset transfers over to the defense and the style they try and play here, because, you know, that was the turnover they were looking for. That's the way they've been able to beat Oregon in the past, and it goes against them, so it's a tough situation for him. 2nd and 2. O'Neal the throw. He's got Rickett right at the marker, and he backs up a little bit and is knocked back to the 46-yard line. Forward progress, they may give him the 45. Ink Aliaga was there to make the stop. Well, you know, Rickett, that's the play he caught before, the only 17 yards passing that Oregon has been able to lay claim today to, was that very same play, the little inside screen to Rickett. And this time Washington was ready for it, and he doesn't get anything out of the football play. 2 for 7, only 18 yards for Danny O'Neal. That's a man who threw for more than 3,000 yards last year. 3rd down and 2 at the 44. Spence in motion. And here's Whittle. He's got the 1st down and 20 more. To the 40 before 3 or 4 Huskies stopped him there. Lawyer Malloy, number 9, roughing him up at the end of the play. And the Duck fans here want a penalty for unnecessary roughness. But a great 3rd down conversion, something that the Ducks have not been able to do all that consistently here this afternoon. Good blocks up the middle, and Whittle's able to squirt through and get a 1st down. Now, offensively, Oregon virtually has had no drives. You know, the turnover set up the touchdown and the great field position. But at the half, there were only 3 first downs on the board for the Ducks. And there goes Steve Hoffman into the backfield. We'll see if someone moved. He thinks so. Hoffman may be a little upset because the guy he blasted, Eric Reed, is the guy who opened the hole up on the previous play for the 1st down run.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
And that's a nice way to get your vengeance out on somebody the very next play. If he moves, you're able to tag him.
1st and 15 for the Ducks at the 45.
Let's see who moves in that interior line. Oh, a little faint forward there. And Eric Reed has to pay for the mistake that his cohort, Willie Reif, 76, makes. So you see Hoffman pointing at Reif as well. So here's Whittle. Bottled up right at the line of scrimmage. Steve Hoffman took his frustrations out on Whittle that time. Well, coming up next Saturday on ABC Sports, a college football doubleheader at 9 a.m. Pacific. Battle the unbeatens, number 3 Colorado and number 2 Nebraska live. Following that matchup, here's our lineup of regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Call your cable operator for the games available on pay-per-view. That's all next Saturday on ABC. You know, you look at that Colorado-Nebraska matchup, and of course Penn State is ranked 1st, but I think the winner of that game leapfrogs over Penn State and will be number 1 in the polls. I think you're right. That's the way the polls have gone all year. O'Neal under pressure and has Griffith, who has good speed over the middle. And inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. 1st down as Damon Griffin scampers to the 29. Well, you know, it's the perfect call against his defense. Man-to-man defense. You see some people coming in, pressure up front. You can get that first block, and Griffin's able to turn it upfield, go against the grain as he gets blocks from trying to get help from as many players as he can. But a very nice call by offensive coordinator Mike Bellotti into that pressure defense that the Huskies like to use so much of. It's going to take the sting out of that pressure front of theirs. Whittle, the only man in the backfield, as O'Neal eludes the rush, and he's got Pat Johnson in the end zone, and he can't grab it. He was all alone in the end zone. Reggie Reeser had the coverage, but he got no help from anyone. Now, and you know, you talk about Pat Johnson and his speed. He's still learning to become a wide receiver, though, and that, on this play, you know, that was his. He's saying, that's mine, that's mine. Well, there's no question this is a big game. Danny O'Neal, the quarterback, knows this week and next week against Arizona, maybe the 2 biggest weeks of the season for the Ducks.
coming back-to-back, with Washington and Arizona, and they're going to have to come through here if they want the Pac-10 championship, and that's what we want. So we don't get a lot of attention up here in Oregon. We just kind of plug away and try to keep on getting victories, and but people start noticing us.
And O'Neill will walk off to the sideline as the Ducks call a timeout. They want to think about it on 2nd down and 10, but really, he's right. They haven't gotten a lot of attention here in Oregon, but they only one loss in the Pac-10, and Washington this week, Arizona next week.
Well, Oregon hit that play to Damon Griffith on that little wide receiver screen that was successful. Then they come right back and go play action. Pat John, it's a great call by Mike Bellotti. See, they go play action here. Look at that pressure defense. See how many linebackers are up? People up in the backfield penetrating. But that means single coverage downfield. That's something that Washington doesn't mind because they have good cornerbacks. Pat Johnson, though, is wide open, and he just mistimes his jump. Did he run through that football instead of trying to leap up and catch it with his speed? He might have been able to catch that right on his shoulder pads for a touchdown. And he knows, he's trying to learn to be a receiver. That's just the whole thing of judging the trajectory of the ball and being able to use that speed to catch the football. He'll make it a lot easier on his hands if he uses his speed to run down passes.
And he was a running back in high school, so it's not like he played 4 years on the high school level at the wideout position. Very young and still a lot to learn.
You got to feel for Danny O'Neill. He wants to win this game, and he's really doing everything he's supposed to within the confines of this somewhat limited offense because of the personnel they have. But he finally gets a big play. He lays the ball right on the money. I mean, it's supposed to be a touchdown, and he just doesn't have the kind of receiver he needs at this point to run through and make the catch.
So 2nd and 10 at the 30-yard line. Dwayne Jones, the lone setback. Over the middle, and he throws it right behind Dameron Ricketts, who was open. And O'Neill upset.
Well, I think what he's talking to Ricketts about is zone read versus man-to-man read. When you see a zone, you settle. And that's what Washington was playing defensively. When you see man-to-man, you run away from coverage. And that's why the tight end was behind opening up that play, and Ricketts came underneath, but he just needed to settle. That's why the ball was thrown behind him.
Again, you've got 2 true freshmen and a sophomore in there in terms of the wideouts for Oregon, and that's type of read that just comes with time.
So Oregon needs to convert a 3rd and 10. They're 1 for 8 so far today on 3rd down conversions.
3 receivers in. Here comes Whittle to the near side. They're going to call another timeout.
I'll tell you, you've got 40-some thousand offensive coordinators out here, too, because they're going nuts.
So they'll take a timeout to think about it. 3rd and 10 at the 30 when we come back.
Homecoming 19.
You still make a great lasagna.
My son is making it now. I'll tell you, a while back, I didn't think there'd be a restaurant for him.
This place, it's always busy.
That wasn't the problem. It was everything else. It was insurance and health plans. My guy at Penn-Wiber, he helped me out with all that.
The stockbroker?
Yes, he even set us up with a 401k.
I guess he must really know how important this place is to your family.
Yeah. Because he took the time to ask.
At a price like this, it's the car of your dreams.
PageNet, America's #1 wireless messaging company, is proud to sponsor the 125th anniversary of college football. Since the days of leather caps and broken teeth, the game has come a long way. But it's still a game of contact. And who knows more about contact than PageNet, the company that keeps more people in close contact nationwide.
Well, we here at ABC Sports would like to honor the scholar athletes out on the field today. Washington's Dave Janoski, 3.4 grade point average in management, and actually engineering, and Jeff Sherman, a 3.2 in management, the 2 scholar athletes from each schools. A key 3rd down play coming up. 3rd and 10 at the 30. And she is excited about it.
Either that or she has to go to the bathroom.
You think so?
Could very well be. I've seen that look in my little girls.
Here comes Whittle in motion. And it's batted down and actually caught by Cottrell. Dave Cottrell, the right guard, actually caught that after it was batted into the air.
Gain of 1 to the Husky 29.
Gained 1 on the play, but I'll tell you, he must have looked, said, what do I do with it now?
I hate to say this, but this is one of the most successful passing plays of the day for Oregon. A batted pass. Dave Cottrell is substituting in at offensive guard. He's laying down on the ground. Ink Aliaga bats the ball. He sets us as, oh, look what I have. Gets the knee up just in time, but he knows how to turn up against the zone defense. Very well done by the offensive line, recognizing coverage.
He'll watch that on the films over and over. So Matt Belvin in for a 46-yard field goal attempt. His longest 47 on the year. And it's good. 17-13 on Belvin's long field goal with 6:06 left in the third here. We take you across the country to New York and John Saunders.
Sarah, UCLA against Arizona, 3rd and goal. Darren Washington takes it around the end, 1 yard out, 17-14. UCLA had taken the lead. I believe Arizona's just scored. We'll keep you updated, Terry.
Hey, John, the folks out here want Arizona to win. All these people in the stands because they get a chance to knock them off next week.
Yeah, but I think they'd be real happy to see Arizona coming in here with a loss. If Oregon were able to win this game with 1 loss in the Pac-10 and then play Arizona, they'd be playing for total possession of first place.
Well, they've got a shot at the Rose Bowl no matter what. And again, you haven't read or heard a whole lot across the country about Oregon's Rose Bowl chances, but they certainly are in a position to do just that.
Well, UCLA in a shocker. 0-4 in the conference, all sorts of injuries, 2-5 for the season. That would be quite an upset if they were able to beat Arizona.
Matt Belvin to kick it off. And deep for Sean Sheehy and Napoleon Kaufman. Sheehy had his own way. Hit, still up, and knocked down right about the 16-yard line, and that's where Washington will start. Let's go back to John Saunders in New York for a moment.
Hits on the tackle for the Ducks at the Husky 19. 18 yards return.
Terry, I told you that Arizona has just scored. There's a look at the touchdown. Dan White to Lamar Harris, 14 yards. Arizona leads now 21-17.
John, thank you. Well, John Spagnola says they're upset out here now because of that. Arizona on top, but that was quick. Ball's on the 19-yard line. Huard the throw out of the pocket, and he's got his tight end, number 82, Ernie Conwell, out to the 24. Tackle made by Rich Rule. Look at how Oregon got 3 points on the board, 9 plays, and it took 3 minutes and 40 seconds. 46-yard field goal for Belvin.
But think about it today. They went 13 yards for a touchdown, 18 yards for a touchdown, only 24 yards for a field goal. I mean, this is what you call high productivity offense. I mean, if you can score points, and I don't even think they have 100 yards total in this game yet, and you can score 17 points with less than 100 yards, that's maximizing your offense.
Here's Kaufman on the right side. Gets ahead for 3. That's it. Stop made by Curtis Moore, the middle linebacker. Napoleon Kaufman had the large run, 37 yards, but they have kept him at bay throughout most of this game.
Keep in mind the one other breakout he had on the first play of the second half was called back because of a penalty. And this is a true test here for this Washington Husky offense, which has become a lot more balanced, even though Kaufman's still the premier player in the offense. They have to see, if they can perform in this kind of adversity on the road and get things going here in the third quarter.
3rd and 3. Here they come. And Kaufman stopped. He won't get there. Troy Bailey, the defensive end, stopped Napoleon Kaufman short of first down. And once again, Washington has to punt as Oregon's defense comes up with a big 3rd down play.
Get out of the I formation. It's kind of a delay play. to Kaufman, makes it look like pass, but the two inside linebackers are coming. All those gaps are filled. Even a guy like Kaufman, with his abilities, cannot escape that many defenders at the point of attack.
Another low snap, and Jeff Prince is going to have to run it. He's got to get to the 29, and he's there. To the 40-yard line, maybe the 41, and a first down and a big break for the Washington Huskies.
Jeff Prince, the least likely hero of this offense, bobbles the snap from center. It's a good snap from center. Maybe a tad low, but certainly easily enough to be handled. And now he stumbles, and you know, right here, I thought he was going to trip and fall down, but he keeps his balance. He got excited and knew he had the first down, and you know, he's not a very big player. He was wise to get out of bounds so he wouldn't get hurt. Now, I'm just wondering if Lambright's patting him on the fanny or screaming at him for dropping that snap from center.
He took a deep breath, I know that. 13-yard gain in the first down out to the 41-yard line now. Here's Napoleon. Gets away from the first tackler and ahead to the 44.
Stopped at the 44.
Also, Washington gets a break. We've talked about the Oregon breaks, and they've made them themselves, but they have had good field position when they've been able to score. Jim Lambright's club on the bobbled snap on the punt attempt.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been disastrous, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they're down, Washington's down 4 points. It would have been another turnover deep in their territory. And the unlikeliest hero of all so far, Prince, you know, runs for the first down. So Lambright's got to feel he got a reprieve on that play.
Talking to him yesterday, he knew he was in for a game today. He said the rivalry takes care of that. Here's Kaufman. Gets out of the hands of two tacklers and actually makes something positive out of that run. To the 46, maybe the 47-yard line. Brian Jackson made the stop, but it looked like Kaufman was wrapped up well in the backfield.
Again, we'll see if Oregon comes with this pressure defense they've been using on third down. You know, it's not always going to be effective, so because with Kaufman in the backfield, Washington on third down, the scouting report on them is they throw equally in third and long situations. They throw 50% and run 50%. But I think Oregon's probably going to bring as much pressure as they can, because that's been their pattern so far in this game.
Two tight ends in, Conwell and Bruner, and a deep drop for Huard. And he has Eric Bjornsson out there, and Bjornsson can't hold on to it. One official ruled a catch, but there's no way. Here comes the other official in there.
Well, Bjornsson's had a number of these passes today that were just tantalizingly close. Remember the slant in earlier that was overruled. This ball was not well thrown by Huard. He needed to get it out farther in front of him, and I think, you know, how much can Bjornsson do today? That ball squirts out as he tries to get possession of it. Bjornsson must think, you know, I'm 6'5", I should be about 5'5", and I'd be able to make all these catches a lot easier.
Yeah, down around his knees. Been very close on a number of big ones today. So Prince will punt it away again, maybe. High snap this time. And Herman O'Berry back at his own 15, watches it sail out on the near sideline, and they'll mark it up at the 24-yard line. So a punt of 29 yards. And Jeff Prince not real happy about that effort.
He's probably thinking he should have run it.
But 2:07 left in the third, and Oregon will take over once again. An interesting crowd here today as well, because as you would imagine, most of the fans here are Oregon fans, but there's a section in the end zone that is all clad in purple, and a lot of Washington fans making this trip. There they are, and they are seated right now. They are not up and cheering. Play action, O'Neal over the middle. There's Damon Ricketts. Ricketts to the 44-yard line, and a big pass play for Danny O'Neal, a gain of 20, the biggest play so far for him on the day.
There's no question Danny O'Neal's got the confidence. We heard from his coaches. He had a great week of practice. Off of play action, a good call on first down, because the tendency's been to throw every time. And Damon Ricketts takes it, comes back to the football wisely, and does a pretty good job of getting some additional yardage afterwards. It's a good execution and a good call. Now Oregon finally goes over the 100-yard mark in total yards, and they have 17 points. It's amazing.
Hadn't done that in 3 of the last 4 games. Back This way is Filial, the tailback, and really stuck at the line of scrimmage by David Ritchie and Richie Chambers as well.
David Kilpatrick on the stop.
David Kilpatrick in there from Anchorage, Alaska, along with his mate in the linebacking corps, Ink Aliaga from Honolulu. I'm sure that's the only combo around the country you're going to find.
Kilpatrick had a good quote earlier in the year. He said, playing in Alaska is like playing in Pluto. I mean, you know, very few people go up there and recruit, but he does a good job of playing off the blocker, using his leverage, and making the tackle.
O'Neal under pressure and dumped in the backfield. Richie Chambers in there to make the hit, and we'll see how slow Danny O'Neal is getting up. And he bounces up, but he took a pop.
Chambers came into the game with 7.5 sacks. He's a very active outside linebacker, great athlete. Once O'Neal has to come off his primary receivers, look out, here he comes. Richie Chambers, terrific athlete, and now again Oregon is forced in a long situation to try and convert on third down. They were 1 for 8 on third down conversions.
Chambers 6'3", 230, senior out of Lake Stevens, Washington. Dwayne Jones, the lone set in the backfield. 3rd and 18. Under pressure again. Scrambling to the outside. O'Neal down the sidelines for Johnson, and it's well overthrown. Contact down there. Crowd wants a flag, but first of all, there's no way that pass was catchable.
No, there was, and I think Johnson was trying to beg the official for a penalty, but he, again, I think being inexperienced, has not been in a lot of scramble situations. And I don't think he understood exactly what the quarterback, Danny O'Neal, was trying to get him to do on that broken play.
See O'Neal talking to Dameron Ricketts as well.
Right.
And he's done a lot of that this year. I mean, trying to get them to understand the routes and what they need to do in their reads. So Belvin punts it away again, and Neal back at his own 26. Looking for room, and now finds a little bit to the outside. And brought down at the 35-yard line with an arm tackle. That's Josh Wilcox down there, the tight end, on the tackle. And we'll be back with more action after a message and a word from our ABC stations.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy. Don't you think?
Original and cooling blue.
By Menon.
Shake it, no dandruff. You've got Selsun Power. Brush it, no flakes. You've got Selsun Power with Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it #1 over all leading brands. Dandruff problem? No way. You've got Selsun Power.
This shop is very much different now. Ford customers told us what they wanted. We have people up on the drive that greet them as soon as they come in. The car is written up within a few minutes, and once we get the repair order in hand, we got a pretty good idea where to go and what we're looking for. The top priority is fix it right the first time, on time. Quality care standards, it must work pretty good. We get letters, cards, a handshake now and then. You know, people let us know. This is what they want.
Quality care people, quality care standards at your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Tonight on the ABC Family Movie, John Ritter's a dad with his hands full because he's got the kid from heck. Ow. Problem Child 2 tonight.
October is Truck Month at your Northern California Ford dealer.
Right now, you can drive the best-selling, best-built compact pickup in the world, Ford Ranger, for just $179 a month for 24 months. That's right. Choose from a huge selection of Ranger pickups with rear anti-lock brakes, rear step bumper, and AM/FM stereo for only $179 a month. It's the right truck at the right price, and it's right now.
Only during Truck Month at your Northern California Ford dealer.
Bad of the ball. My name is Sanchez, and I'm the best bullfighter in Spain. Well, not yet. For now, I deliver packages. But soon, the ladies will know the name, Sanchez.
Uh-oh. Does your shipping company hire someone else to deliver your package overseas? Why take the chance? Especially when there's a company that uses its own delivery people in more countries around the world. DHL, or else.
Football wrap-up. Enjoy all the action Monday night on Channel 7.
The fourth quarter set to get underway. Oregon leading 17-13 here at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. This is a crowd that has been on its feet for most of the game. You would definitely call it an upset, but with a rivalry, both coaches expected this type of game. Here's Napoleon Kaufman set down in the backfield right away. Rich Rule got there. You look at the third quarter stats, John.
Yeah, again, total yards. I mean, it just jumps out at you that Oregon's only been able to manage 102 total yards, but still they have 17 points for those 102 yards. Washington at 258. Now, one turnover, and I guess the 0 turnovers for Oregon, the turnover that could have been that wasn't, was overruled on the fumble punt return, looms large in this football game.
That guy on the field or in the stands? Which one? He's got the duckwear on in the stands. 2nd and 11 for Huard. Here's Kaufman right at the line of scrimmage. He slipped before Chad Cota got there. And we have talked about this Omni turf. Opposing players aren't used to it. You know, there's sand underneath there, and they actually watered this turf down before the game, and some players say it's slippery.
And in order to create less traction, which is one of the big problems with AstroTurf, it's too sticky, so you wind up blowing out knees and hurting ankles because your foot stays stuck. They water this down and there's sand underneath. It creates a looser traction, but it does also make the surface slick.
3rd and a long 10 for Huard on the long drop. Under pressure now, looking for someone, and he's going to go down at the 21-yard line. Mark Schmidt was there, along with Mark Slyman. There are flags on the field. But Huard dropped again in the backfield. And we'll wait to see what the flags are about. In fact, there are 3 of them. There are 2 right around the 30-yard line and 1 out near the 45-yard line. And we've had quite a bit of yellow flags on the ground today.
Holding. Defense. Holding. Offense. The foul's offset. Replay the down.
Yeah, that's a good call. Dave Janoski was getting mugged as he was trying to release down the line of scrimmage. He was about 10, 12 yards downfield, and the defenders for Oregon were still holding him up. So I'm sure that's the defensive holding, and of course the offensive holding's got to be in the offensive line somewhere.
Well, Huard was under pressure and had some time at first, but scrambling out of the pocket. You can imagine when the holding was called back there. So that brings up another 3rd down and 10. The old do-over. Kaufman in the backfield alone. Huard looking to his tight end Bruner, who makes the catch at the 44, but it looks like he's going to be short of the 1st down.
That's right. In an effort to go down and catch the football, Bruner had to bend over, and when he dove for the ball, he winds up a yard short. Had he been able to catch that ball in stride, he might have been able to turn up, lower his shoulder, and get the 1st down.
And that's a guy that's been quiet today. Mark Bruner made some blocks, but he has not been able to get out and catch any passes.
Yeah, and Huard, you see Huard, he knows it. He knows that ball was just a tad low, and that's the difference between converting a 3rd down and having to punt the football.
So Prince back to punt again. And Herman O'Berry at his own 23 calls for the fair catch, comes up and makes it at the 24-yard line. A 32-yard punt, no return, 17-13, 12:31 left in the game.
Wow. Look at the size of this place. A guy who didn't know what he was doing could sure get himself in a lot of trouble here. But hey, I'm sure you'll pick one out. I mean, how hard could it be? Like these guys, they used to make a heck of a movie projector. And anyway, if something does go wrong, I'm sure a handy guy like you can probably just fix it yourself. But as long as you're here, maybe you ought to just look at an IBM.
Familiar as blue jeans, Hollywood chase scenes, as timeless as pop flies, and you know who, blue eyes, it's always been true.
Just for you, a taste you'll find in no other beer at any price. Beechwood Aged Budweiser.
It's always been true. steady. My eyes were clear and bright. My walk had purpose. My steps were quick and light.
These are the men and women who make Chevy
I
trucks.
held firm to what I felt was right, like a rock.
Considering the quality of our people, it's no wonder they build the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Undefeated Penn State hosts Big Ten rival Ohio State or other regional action. It's Game 2 of an ABC college football doubleheader next Saturday.
A good one going on here in Eugene, Oregon up 17-13. I'll tell you what, John Spagnola, if they drive the football here, and they make it awfully tough on Washington.
Absolutely. I mean, Washington's been in this game, but right now, Oregon could definitely throw a knockout punch, eat up some clock, and score some points here. It's going to be tough for Washington to come back.
You know, Philyaw trying to get outside. He does and gains a few to the 25-yard line. Reggie Reeser made the stop, and you look at the offense of Washington making plans for the next series. They have been stifled, especially on third down. Well, they put together a couple of drives early in the game and have moved the football, but Oregon's defense has come up with the big play all afternoon long.
Yeah, well, you know, Washington only has one first down in the second half, and that was on the punter's scramble. Prince. So Jeff Prince has the only first down conversion for this Washington Husky offense in this whole second half.
2nd and 9. Here's Philyaw again. Cuts back across the 30 to the 31. And he'll be a couple of yards short of a first down. He's an interesting story, too, Dino Philyaw. Grew up in Dudley, North Carolina. After high school, actually was drafted and played baseball for the Indians in their organization. Didn't work out for him, and decided to go back to college and play football. Played at Taft College, and that's where the coaches here at Oregon discovered him, and he has become a mainstay in this backfield.
Yeah, like Pat Johnson, you know, he's a track guy, 4th in the Pac-10 last year in the 100-meter, but he's just learning how to play running back. You know, he made that quantum leap this past spring from runner to running back.
See if Oregon can go 2 for 11 on third down, and the catch is made by Philyaw out of the backfield. We'll see where they mark it. He is very close to a first down, and it all depends on the spot.
But Washington brought the pressure backside. O'Neal was just able to get rid of that football to Philyaw, and it's going to be a close mark here. Close spot, but it's 4th down.
4th down, about a half yard to go for the Ducks.
They're short about a half yard. Lawyer Malloy came up to make the big hit, and they will punt it away. This will be the 9th punt of the afternoon for the Oregon Ducks.
Can you imagine that, punting 9 times in a football game, getting barely over 100 yards in total offense, and you're still leading the game by 4 points, 17-13.
Against the number 9 team in the nation.
Yes.
And Belden under pressure, and he's hit. They're going to throw a flag. Neal back to his own 22, but this is coming back. It doesn't matter. Neal to the outside and wrapped up at the 31. There's another flag now thrown on the return. I think they've got a clip, but you're going to have a roughing the kicker call.
Yeah, that was a push in the back, but that's a moot point, as the roughing the kicker call definitely is going to give Oregon a first down. See Belden with the punt. That leg's fully extended. Got to stay away from him. You can't do that. That's number 11, Brooks Beaupain, who caught that foot, and you can see how exposed a punter is.
Boy, mistakes have really killed Jim Lambright's club today. You remember early on in the game, early in the first quarter, they had a drive going, and they had an offensive pass interference call, brought them back. They had to go ahead with a field goal attempt instead of driving for a touchdown. Now this one really brings them back.
Back on the return team, decline, personal foul, roughing the kicker on the defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
That's going to give Oregon the football around midfield. That is not incidental contact. I mean, that's the personal foul, 15 yards.
Rich Brooks, the job he's done here, especially in the last 5-6 years, really going places with this program. Has been here for 18 years.
And we asked him about his situation. There it is, Washington, 9 penalties, 78 yards. They came into the game averaging just 6 penalties. And we asked Brooks about his future and how much longer you want to coach. He kind of laughed and said, hey, I'm 53. You know,
get off my back. I'm going to stay here as long as I want.
I like this stuff. And he's got 3 years left on his contract here at Oregon, too.
On the play action, O'Neal the throw. He tries to hit Dwayne Jones, his fullback, out of the backfield, but he overthrew him. Well, Monday night, ABC Sports heads to Veterans Stadium. Randall Cunningham, Herschel Walker, and the Eagles. They're trying to keep pace with the Cowboys in the NFC East. They'll take on the Houston Oilers at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC's Monday Night Football. Eagles got a shot?
The question is, does Houston have a shot? You know,
no, I mean in terms of a run at the Super Bowl.
Oh, as opposed to just that game. Oh, yeah, they do, because they have a stretch here where they play the Oilers, they play the Arizona Cardinals, who aren't playing well, and then they play the Redskins. So, you know, they could be right back in the tied for the lead if Dallas stumbles along the way.
Ricky Whittle with a hole on the right side, but that closes up quickly at midfield. Louis Jones came in, along with his linebacker mate, Donovan Schmidt.
It must be frustrating for this Husky defense to play so well during the course of the game and to shut down another offense, but to be victimized by bad field position and the turnovers by the offense and a kickoff return, and then because they have played very well today as they've just about suffocated this Duck offense.
3rd and long, 3rd and about 9. And O'Neal back under pressure. Got to get rid of it. And does. It bounces off of Jones and intercepted. Reggie Reeser down the near sideline, and now he loses the football. And out of bounds at the 23. Washington will have it there. A pass that was tipped by the fullback Dwayne Jones, and Reggie Reeser picked it off. And what a huge turnaround for the Huskies right now.
Well, they finally get the turnover. Danny O'Neal is under siege as he's trying to go back to the screen to the left side. He has no time again. So as he throws the ball, it's way too hot for Dwayne Jones to handle. Reggie Reeser goes up. Now watch Willie Rife, 71, who hustles down. I'm sorry, that's Eric Reed, who hustles down and makes the tackle to at least prevent Reeser from scoring a touchdown. The ball slips out, but it goes out of bounds.
And actually, they mark it at the 29 now. Napoleon Kaufman right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I know a lot of first down plays, though. They've been getting the ball to Kaufman, and yeah, you want to do that. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate, but the way the Duck defense is geared up against the run, I think you got to go play action on first down and force, you know, take advantage of the turnover. How many times have you seen offenses go for a big play right after a turnover?
Yeah, in terms of momentum, the switch, boom, with the quick hit. And now, how many times have you looked up and seen 2nd and 9 on the scoreboard, too, John? They have not done a whole lot on first down.
No, that's right. They haven't.
Thomas and Kaufman in the backfield, and Huard the throw. Out to his tight end. That's number 85, Mark Bruner, near a first down. Only the 2nd catch of the day for Bruner, an All-American tight end.
You know, that is just a physical mismatch because Cota was all over Bruner in coverage. But Bruner bounced him around, was able to shake himself free, and Cota just could not stay with him physically as Bruner goes and gets the first down on his 2nd reception. You see the very end of this play, Bruner was able to get that position to make the reception simply because he just pushed Cota out of the way, and not illegally either. And he almost broke through from that arm tackle or that shoestring tackle to get even more yards than that.
So 1st and 10 at the 18. Kaufman bouncing outside, looking for room, and down to the 16-yard line. Only the speed able to get him to the outside. And Napoleon Kaufman, a man we talked to yesterday about staying at Washington instead of going to the NFL.
Well, I think that I'm just really having a great time in college. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. Something that I had always dreamed about growing up as a kid. So, I didn't want to leave prematurely. And I'm having a great time with my teammates. We're winning games, and I sat down and talked to Coach Levan and my high school coach about it, my mom, and I just feel like I had to stay, and I think I made the right decision.
And Napoleon gets the carry on 2nd and 2, and he's wrapped up maybe after gaining a yard. Need to get to the 9-yard line for the first down.
No, he didn't even get close to that, but just following up on that interview, 23 rushes, 101 yards. So it's over 100 yards again in this football game for Kaufman, but he really endeared himself to the people in the Seattle area, the Husky faithful, by coming back and playing, and he's very involved in the community. He's on the board of the boys clubs, board of directors, boys clubs, girls clubs in that area. So he's involved. I mean, he's one of those special people you come across who just does so much for a school, and he's so athletically talented.
And made improvements this year in his all-around game. Here's the give to the fullback, and a touchdown for Richard Thomas. Straight ahead running. And Washington pulls ahead.
And that's what the turnover led to, the interception. Thomas taking advantage of the fact that the Duck defense is concentrating on Napoleon Kaufman. You see Kaufman in the backfield. He goes right. That defense starts to go to their left. That leaves Richard Thomas wide open up the middle. And only Jeff Sherman had a chance at him, and he ran right through that arm tackle.
And you saw even Jeff Sherman take 3 or 4 steps to his left at the beginning of that play. Thomas
Again,
ahead.
Yep, you see linebackers and everybody else going to their left.
And the extra point up, and it is good. So Richard Thomas, his 3rd touchdown run of the year. And with 7:44 left in this one, Washington ahead by 3.
All-new Chevy Blazer, the only sport utility vehicle with a driver control system. It's nice to know it's here.
No, my plane's stuck somewhere back
Your flight has been canceled. The 5 most hated words of every business traveler. On a day like this, I know it's not the airline's fault. Still, I just want somebody to give me some answers.
Let's see if we can reroute you to another city.
Those are the people I come back to. They try and find a way and give me my best option, maybe even on another airline. I appreciate that, because a little honesty goes a long way. Tell Billy by halftime, I'll be there.
My dandruff and itch are awful. I'll try anything. Denorex tingles. Head and Shoulders doesn't.
Both have effective dandruff medicine, but Denorex has something extra that tingles, feels fresh.
That's why I started using Denorex. No flakes, no itch.
Denorex, the serious dandruff shampoo.
Don't miss Goodyear's big tire sale and 25% savings on 4 of our most popular radials for passenger cars and light trucks. But you gotta hurry. The big tire sale ends November 5th at participating Goodyear retailers.
College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Payne Weber, we believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships. Zima, a unique alcohol beverage. And IBM, there is a difference. 7:44 left in this one as the Huskies lead the Ducks 20-17, and Troy Bailey ejected from the game on the extra point. There's some extracurriculars going on, and personal foul was levied against Oregon. 15-yard penalty, and he was thrown out of the game.
Yeah, there's Troy Bailey right in the middle of the screen, number 56. You can see he's getting pushed a little bit extra beyond that by the offensive guard. He retaliates. Now let's watch 56. He gets up, throws a punch, gets the flag, and gets the ejection from the game.
Oh, he threw it right in front of the official as well.
Quick hook. You can see, you know, the kick was gone, and he tried to rush the extra point, and of course, being blocked, the guy just kept on doing it and doing it past the whistle, and that's an act of frustration that he will regret.
So Washington kicks off from the 50. And deep is Pat Johnson at his own 2, and he slips and falls, and they're going to rule it dead at the 2-yard line. Well, Johnson had not returned kicks all day long. He has done that. He's returned 9 on the year, but he is not a guy who's normally back deep for Oregon.
Credit John Wales, though, with an excellent pooch kick. I mean, easily he could have driven that into the end zone, but he put a lot of air under the football, got it high in the air. You know, and those defenders or the kickoff coverage guys only had to go 50 yards as opposed to the usual 65 yards to cover that down to the end zone.
Now, what a bad break for Oregon, too. 7:40 left, and they're right in that end zone, too. That's where the fans are.
And what a task to ask of this Oregon offense to go 98 yards when they've only managed 6 first downs this entire game.
Play action for O'Neal. And he's got Ricketts at the 18, and he's got room. Across the 35 to the 37, and a big play for Danny O'Neal to Dameron Ricketts. Russell Harrison there on the coverage, and finally the stop.
A play, about the only passing play that's been successful for Oregon this afternoon, and that's this play action going to Dameron Ricketts.
39 yards on the pass. Don't forget, if time permits, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. That's after the game if we have time. And here's Filio across the 40. He's to the 41. Jones on the tackle.
In a 3, second down 7.
Well, you got some breathing room now, though, to operate. You can do what you want offensively.
That's right. They do, but keep in mind there's 7 minutes left in this football game, but Oregon has used 2 timeouts in the third quarter, 2 timeouts that they squandered. So they can't look into a punt situation and then play defense and hope to get the ball back. This is the drive where they've got to come up with some points.
Ricky Whittle, the tailback, wrapped up in the backfield. He's going to lose one on the play. Deke Devers and Steve Hoffman in on the tackle. Steve Hoffman, a junior out of San Jose. His brother Dave was an All-American linebacker at Washington.
Yeah, Hoffman didn't play last year. He herniated a disc in his back and missed the whole season, but he's back to playing well for the Husky defense. But it's a key third down now for Oregon's offense. They have to convert, get some points on this drive. Otherwise, it's going to be real tough to come back in this game.
3 receivers in for O'Neal. And he throws to Pat Johnson. He has the catch, and he has a first down at the 49. And there's an example of Johnson running the right route. He ran far enough to get the first down.
He ran far enough. He made a good catch, extended his hands to make the catch. Keep in mind, you know, we talk about his track experience, but he only played 1 year of high school football, too. So he doesn't have a whole lot of experience. He took a long time getting out of that break, but he can do that with that kind of speed as Harrison is way off in coverage, not trying to get beat deep on that play.
Numbers getting better for Danny O'Neal now. First down at the 49. He's got Ricketts open at the 40. And he drives Reeser down to the 30-yard line. A gain of 21 on the play. And you got to look at the strength of Dameron Ricketts.
Not only that, you have to look at Danny O'Neal, who just threw his fist in the huddle to exhort his teammates. He's excited. He's playing well in this football game. He comes off. He had a receiver open downfield, too, but he gets the ball to Ricketts. And Ricketts shows the strength that he has, as it takes a number of Husky defenders to finally bring him down, working one-on-one with Reggie Reeser.
And they give to Whittle on the right side. He goes to the 28, a gain of maybe 2 on the play. Stop made by Donovan Schmidt, the outside linebacker. Well, this maybe the most impressive drive for Oregon all day long. They started on their own 2, the big pass play to open up the drive, and now down to the 28-yard line.
Well, they haven't been able to drive the football all that long today because they haven't had to. When you look at the passing yardage by half, 106 now in the second half, as opposed to just one play that netted 17 for the Ducks.
3 receivers in again. Griffin to the near side. Johnson and Ricketts to the far side. And here's the throw to Griffin, and he is popped at the 29. Ink Aliaga timed it perfectly, and that's when you dream about as a linebacker.
You know, if Aliaga doesn't read that play and make the play, Griffin's gone there, because there was enough penetration from Washington that the blockers, watch the blockers start to form, but Aliaga comes from the inside out, and Eric Reed, 71, can't get to Aliaga in time. It's a play that Oregon has used about 3-4 times today. It's been successful most of the time, but that time Aliaga read it very well.
Another big third down up. We've had a bunch of them. Here's O'Neal, and he's got room to scramble. Has to get to the 19 and stretches ahead with the football, and we'll see where they spot it. What a great effort by Danny O'Neal to get there. Luis Jones made the stop, but we'll see where they spot the football.
Where they spot it's going to be interesting, because if it's short, there's a decision that's got to be made by Rich Brooks. Does he go for the field goal and the tie, or does he go for the first down conversion on 4th down? So we'll check the mark first before we start to speculate on what Rich Brooks is going to do.
Can he check the Arizona score first?
Not a bad idea.
And he's got it.
So the drive's alive.
Boy, this young man has to feel good today. I mean, no matter what happens, it's been a tough year for Danny O'Neil and Rich Brooks, but his quarterback has really suffered. A lot of pressure on this guy's shoulders, and right now the fist in the air.
Sure, almost everything could have gone wrong for him this year. Coming off such a great year, 3,200 yards passing last year. He loses his 2 top wide receivers. He gets the staph infection on his finger, and he's knocked out. He's been able to put that all behind him, get back in the flow of things, and he's got this team on a very impressive must-have drive here.
Ricky Whittle straight ahead to the 12. And there was a hole, and Whittle took it quickly. Aliaga again on the tackle. A gain of 7 on the run by Whittle.
How about an end zone?
Well, Oregon has not beaten Washington in their last 5 meetings. And Washington has dominated the series. It's a long-time rivalry, but they sense it right now.
Good blocking in the right side. Malapai with a great block. He was the right guard. Should mention he's one of 3 brothers starting here today for the Ducks.
And Whittle popped in the backfield. He gets maybe to the line of scrimmage. David Ritchie in there again. He's had a big day for the Huskies. Yeah, you're right. You've got Fulo Malapai, the fullback. You've got Tassi Malapai, offensive lineman. You've got Salila Malapai, defensive lineman. And there are 9 total in the family. There are 3 girls and 6 guys. You know, with the success of the guys so far, why not go after the sisters at this? The whole family, just bring them here.
It's a big percentage of this Oregon football team, too.
3rd down and 3. A long count by O'Neil. And out of Jones, the fullback straight ahead. He's got a first down and a touchdown.
What an impressive drive by Oregon. Going 98 yards for a touchdown. They've been able to have the lead all day. Pressure defense. Washington blitzing coming up front, and it laid the middle of that defense vulnerable as Dwayne Jones takes it and extends that ball to get into the end zone. These running backs for Oregon must work on extending the ball at the end zone, because we saw Philly all do that earlier today. Somebody down on the ground. It looks like
Tassi Malapai.
Malapai is hurt. He's been battling some injuries this season. And when he battles injuries, he also has to battle his weight, because his weight has been known to fluctuate. He's listed at 340, but that's, you know, plus or minus 20 yards. There's Jones, who made the touchdown. But, you know, that Washington defense seemed like it was pressuring from the outside, and that did leave the middle of that defense vulnerable for the burst by the fullback up the middle.
Well, the long drive and the touchdown, a run by Dwayne Jones, his first touchdown run of the year. And really ironic when you look at it, the same play that Washington scored on at the other end. The quick hitter with the fullback as the defense followed the tailback.
Yeah, these fullbacks for either team don't carry the football all that much, because the tailbacks are such a threat. But when you get a defense isolated on the tailbacks, they are effective, and they have been today. Both Richard Thomas and Dwayne Jones.
So Belden on for the extra point. And it is good. And the Oregon Ducks have taken the lead once again. Only 2:40 remaining in the game. The Ducks lead 24-20. We'll be back.
Craig Lampert isn't too worried about how to invest for Zach's college education. That's because he works with a broker from Dean Witter.
We measure success, one investor at a time.
How much closer are our precision heads? Our innovative lift-and cut system? How much better is the latest Norelco? In a word, we've never brought you closer. The Norelco Razor, our closest shave ever.
The BMW 325i. The Volvo 740. The Mercedes 190. Forget it. Introducing the all-new Chevy ZR2 Extended Cab. The official pace car of the next generation.
Serene, natural setting outside of Autzen Stadium as you look at Wilmette River, just about a quarter-mile away from here. About the only Ducks not standing and cheering right now are those out in the river, because inside, Oregon has just taken the lead 24-20. A little over 2 minutes remaining, 2 minutes and 40 seconds actually. Look at the scoring drive, 98 yards. Danny O'Neill took them down the field, and Dwayne Jones on the 12-yard run to score. And they kick it to Coughlin this time. From his 8 out to the 24-yard line. Well, all day long they tried to avoid him on the kickoffs. And Rashawn Sheehy fielded many of those, but they kick it to Napoleon this time, and it's out to the 24. Well, we'll see. Here's the Washington offense, who has been able to drive the ball all day long, but has been stopped in certain key third down situations, had to settle for a couple of field goals. They have put 20 points on the board, but this is the time right now where if you're Damon Huard, you got to win it. Huard to Bjornsson on the far side, knocked out of bounds at the 32, a gain of about 8.
I saw Damon Huard in a game last year against Cal where they were behind well, they had to score 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes to win the football game. He calmly executed a 2-minute offense. They kicked an onside kick, recovered the onside kick, and drove down again. And incidentally, that was the week after Cal had their miraculous comeback against the Oregon Ducks here, which was like the 2nd or 3rd largest comeback in the history of college football.
Well, we have a few moments here, and Jim Lambert on the sideline, very concerned. We're going to take a break and be right back.
People tell us we beat up our trucks more in our commercials than they'd ever dream of.
Like a rock.
Well, they should be on one of our assembly lines when we snatch a truck at random and literally rip it limb from limb to test every body weld in a Chevy truck, all 1,437 of them. But for those of you who think there's too much violence on TV, these next few seconds are for you. Time's up.
I was shocked to learn that most ordinary credit cards charge interest from the moment you buy something, if you carry a balance as little as $1. Thankfully, American Express has introduced a new credit card called the Optima True Grace Card. You get an interest-free grace period on each new purchase, even when you carry a balance. It's a good thing.
But don't just throw away your old credit cards. Recycle them. I'm retiling my pool.
Apply today and cut your interest charges.
There are lots of reasons to buy life insurance. Here are 2 great ones. I'm State Farm Agent Mike Foy. As the Goff family has grown, so have their life insurance needs. That's why we get together for family insurance checkups. I make sure to explain all the options, then they decide on the plan that's right for them. Ask your State Farm agent for a family insurance checkup. It's a great way to learn about life.
2nd down and 3 at their own 32. Huard under pressure. Out of the pocket to Bjornsson again, the big-time receiver. Across midfield to the 45-yard line. What a key pass, a clutch pass by Huard to the guy he looks for all the time, Bjornsson.
Yeah, that's right. Huard just able to elude the outstretched arms of the defender, get the ball to Bjornsson. Alex Molden was in coverage on Bjornsson, but stumbled as he was trying to cover. Look how he just gets out of that grasp of Bryant Jackson, throws the ball. Now watch Bjornsson. All right, we see the throw by Huard.
Gain of 23 on the pass. Ball's now at the 45-yard line, and we'll take another break. Be back right after this.
Hurry, girls, before Daddy gets up. Ooh, ready. Now, no more of these are Daddy's corn pops.
Oh, look, Daddy's bowl is too full.
The problem with a cereal that tastes like popcorn, only sweeter, is that it disappears like popcorn, only faster.
Mommy, that's Daddy.
We share.
Hi, girls.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.
Now, let's all go make him breakfast.
Kellogg's Corn Pops. It's hard to stop when it's Pops.
Do you know what Hitachi makes? Ready? Go. Does Hitachi make camcorders,
Yes.
barcode readers,
Yes.
hydroelectric power equipment,
Yes.
clown noses,
No.
power tools,
Yes.
TVs,
Yes.
MRI systems,
Yes.
beanies,
No.
oscilloscopes,
Yes.
micromotors,
Yes.
mass transit trains,
Yes.
tongue depressors,
No.
PBX phone systems,
Yes.
catnip,
No.
semiconductors,
Yes.
lots of products,
Lots.
over 20,000. Yeah, but who's counting?
First and 10 for Damon Huard and the Huskies at the Oregon 45-yard line as they're driving down the field. 2:14 left in this game. Napoleon Kaufman alone back in the backfield, and Huard to throw. Again under pressure and throws it away. He was fortunate to get that off that time. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Derek Barnes with pressure on the backside, and Huard threw the football away just before Barnes got to him. So he avoids the sack and also incidentally stops the clock.
Yeah, he has been under pressure all day long. Third down and 10 coming up for Damon Huard and the Washington Huskies. They trail 24-20 with 2:03 left in this game. Terry Gannon along with John Spagnola. It's been a good one all day long. The Oregon defense has really come up with big play after big play, stopping Washington drives. And another big third down play right here.
Well, Huard has 2 timeouts. He doesn't have to get the whole 10 yards here, and he's going to have 2 downs to work.
A lot of time. Mark Bruner, the intended receiver, the tight end, and broken up by Isaac Walker. He was there along with Herman O'Berry.
That's right, Herman O'Berry, who limped off the field earlier. We weren't sure if we were going to see him back in action in double coverage, helping out Isaac Walker in coverage on Bruner. And it's going to come down to this 4th down play as Huard calls timeout to confer with his head coach on the sidelines and his offensive coaching staff. Washington looked like had this game wrapped up as they scored a touchdown, and the Ducks not able to move the football today, but they go 98 yards in a surprising drive here to take the lead 24-20.
So they'll talk about it here on 4th and 10. It has been a tough day for Damon Huard. He's put up good numbers today, but he has been on his backside for much of the afternoon.
There's Bill Dietrich, who's trying to dial the right play on 4th and 10 with this game on the line for the Huskies offense.
Now Bill Dietrich taking over this year. Took some adjusting for Huard and the receiving corps and the entire offense, really. But we talked to him yesterday, and he said at this point in the season, they really have a good understanding of what he's trying to get done.
You know, interestingly enough, if Washington fails to convert here, think of the implications for Napoleon Kaufman in the Heisman Trophy.
23 rushes for 102 yards, but you're right. Always the success of the team has a lot to do with whether or not you get those type honors.
Yeah, especially with Washington being on probation. It's all that much more important for them since they can't battle for the Rose Bowl to have success and win their games. But it's coming down to this 4th and 10.
Could be the ball game. 4th down and 10 at the 45. Huard back. Bjornsson with the catch at the 31-yard line. And he's got a Washington first down. A gain of 14 on the play, and they are still alive.
Number 14 gains 14, and this out pattern has been effective. Remember earlier, Alex Molden undercut this out pattern for a key interception, but here he's given a little bit more room against Bjornsson. As Bjornsson uses his size, his 6'5" frame, working against bump and run coverage. Not at great speed, but he has great body control, and he does turn Molden around, and a well-thrown ball by Huard to convert a critical first down.
From the 31. A lot of time, and Kaufman with the catch, and out of bounds. He actually did not catch it because his foot was out of bounds.
Yeah, that back foot slipped, and Kaufman has had some trouble slipping on this OmniTurf today. We saw that on a couple of runs, and it happened on that play, too, as he tried to settle his feet on the sideline, slipped out of bounds, but it would have been an incidental, not a very big gain.
Well, remember who you're talking about. I mean, you're right. There were 2 green jerseys right there, but he has made them miss a number of times this afternoon. So 2nd and 10 at the 31-yard line as Huard looks over the defense. 3 receivers in. And here comes the blitz. He's got time. Fred Coleman, the intended receiver, and incomplete. Alex Molden on the coverage, and there was contact there.
Yeah, Molden was trying to get a call from Coleman. Coleman, the speedster from Texas, redshirt freshman, matched up one-on-one with Molden. And as we've said, Molden battled through injuries last year, did not play as well as a sophomore as he had it as a freshman. But this year he's back in form, and he's been tested here throughout the football game, but especially in the 4th quarter. And Molden came through and made a fabulous interception to set up a touchdown earlier in this game for the Ducks.
So 3rd down and 10. How many times have we said that today? A big 3rd down play for the Huskies. A lot of time. And Huard out of the pocket to the near sideline. And gets to the first down at the 20-yard line. So 1:25 left in the game, and Damon Huard is able to scramble for another Husky first down.
Well, Bill Dietrich, his offensive coordinator, said he's learning clock management. He's learning to run audibles, ball security. There's clock management as he headed out of bounds. Now, he had a pretty good convoy in Patrick Kessie in front of him, but he elected just to go out of bounds. He could have turned it upfield, though, and probably got a lot more yards. And keep in mind, in college, when you convert a first down, there is a timeout while they move the chains on the field.
And Huard throws it away. Nobody really down there. Fred Coleman in the end zone, but he was well covered. And on first down, that's a smart move by the Husky quarterback.
Second down, 10 at the yard.
You know, there's Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator. All game long, he's been successful bottling up some of the passing attack for the Huskies by bringing pressure. But you can see in this drive here, as the Huskies have to score, Oregon has not been bringing much pressure, and Huard has had a lot of time to scan the field and see what he wants to do with the football.
It's been a long drive already for Washington, though. 10 plays that started on their own 25-yard line. 2nd and 10. Bruner with the catch at the 10-yard line and inside the 10 to the 8, and another Husky first down. Mark Bruner was quiet all afternoon until the 4th.
This time, Aliotti did come with the blitz. Watch the inside linebackers. That's Rulon Asher, 48 and 44. They come inside. That gets single coverage to Bruner, one-on-one with Chad Cota. So that time, Aliotti did come with the dogging linebackers inside. But Huard read it and got the football to the hot receiver, and that was Mark Bruner.
And he wants a timeout on the sideline. Now, he had trouble getting his men on the field. They were still scrambling, trying to get people on the field for Oregon. And so they'll both go to the sidelines and talk about it. 1st and goal from the 8 when we come back.
like no other. Molson Ice. Ice brewed by North America's oldest brewery to be colder and...
Does not get much better than this, John Spagnola. 1:05 left. Washington at the 8-yard line. 1st and goal against the defense that has just played tremendously all afternoon. But a quarterback that has put up some numbers and has taken this team from its own 25 down to the 8 now on the final drive.
Both offenses sputtered throughout the game. All of a sudden, Oregon's behind, and they managed to go 98 yards. They kick off to Washington. Now Washington putting together its best drive of the afternoon, too. So both offenses responding to the call here late in the football game.
Good under pressure. And picked off at the 4-yard line. Oregon with the interception. And down the sideline goes Kenny Wheaton. He may score. There's no one near him. Kenny Wheaton. And what an ending.
Pressure from the Oregon defense inside. Huard recognizes this, but he's got to go one-on-one all the way across the football field, throwing to the far side of the field. Wheaton in coverage on Dave Janoski. Wheaton knew the ball had to be in the air a long time. He was able to take a good angle to the football, and then he just turns it on and goes all the way down the other end of the field to ice this football game. And this stadium is rocking. Damon Huard read the right guy. A little taunting by Rich Rule. Huard with an outstanding drive here. A courageous young man trying to bring his football team back, but he had to throw against one-on-one coverage in the face of the blitz and had to go to the right side of the field. That's where his reads took him.
Kenny Wheaton goes 96 yards and saves the day for the Oregon Ducks. With Washington pounding at the door, they had driven from their own 25 all the way down to the 8.
And don't look now, but the Ducks are in the driver's seat here in the Pac-10 as they play Arizona again here next week.
Last win against the Huskies in 1988.
That's 6 years ago to this day.
Well, they'll just try to schedule them on this date every year.
That's not a bad idea. I'm sure Jim Lambright would have something to say about that.
Matt Belvin picks it up and through the uprights, and the Ducks lead 31-20. Well, the genuine Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are Eric Bjornson, 6 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown for Washington, and Danny O'Neill, who on the final drive for Oregon took his team from its own 2-yard line down to score what would be then the winning touchdown until Kenny Wheaton saved the day for the Ducks. But Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need.
And what justice this must be for Danny O'Neill. You see disappointed Husky player. But Danny O'Neill, who has not played well, that's Russell Hairston, against this Washington team over the years. Lawyer Malloy upset, but Danny O'Neill has had all sorts of problems. Only 1 touchdown in 3 years as a starter here. 6 turnovers, 6 interceptions last year. He played well, and boy, what a drive. 98 yards after sputtering all day. But Oregon was opportunistic, taking advantage of turnovers and field position to maximize what they got out of their offense today and scoring the points that they have. And, of course, the turnover was key. There's Danny O'Neill.
By so much pressure on this young man's right arm, and he had the infection in his finger, kept him out of the SC game. Oregon won that game. Tony Graziani, the backup quarterback, having a great contest, but he's got to feel great about today. And you're right, they are right in the thick of things in the Pac-10. Here's Leon Neal bringing it back to the 40-yard line and stopped there. There are 40 seconds left in this game. Dave Figueres in on the tackle. Well, Rich Brooks was very adamant yesterday in talking to him about this club. You know, we said, look, you've had all the injuries this year, some tough luck. You've got a very young club. In fact, at times, he could go with an entire offense that does not have a senior on the field. He said, next couple of years, you're really going to be good. He said, He said, this year.
Yeah,
we've got a shot at winning this title this year and going to the Rose Bowl. There's no doubt.
Yeah, we made some assumptions about next year. It started to write him off a little bit, and our apologies to him because he looked at us and said, "Nuh-uh, our football team's ready to play, and we're competing for the Pac-10 title this year."
Here's Neal out of the backfield, and the backup tailback bounces off a man and gets to the 47-yard line of Oregon. So Leon Neal, the backup junior out of Long Beach, California, with some playing time here. Not much chance for that behind Napoleon Kaufman. And by the way, Napoleon Kaufman, I don't think he was seriously injured, but he did limp a little bit coming off the field after that last drive. But he's standing there. Here you see him on the sideline. And down goes Huard. And maybe a fitting play as time begins to tick down, and it is stopped with 18 seconds left. Washington calls a timeout.
And how frustrating must it be for Napoleon Kaufman, not on the football field at this point in the game when his team is behind by 11 points. Yes, the game's out of question, but, you know, he's banged up. He's putting his helmet back on to go back in, actually. But you look at him limping. Huard has been knocked around all afternoon as Nick Aliotti has made some fabulous calls defensively and been able to exert a lot of pressure on Huard. And, of course, you know, the final play there with Wheaton intercepting the pass against a blitzing defense. Ball thrown across the field to the wide side. And, you know, that's the difference in this football game right now. But there's some courage by Kaufman, though. I didn't expect to see him back in here because he was banged up, but he limps onto the field. And he's going to play out this last 18 seconds.
What do you think about that decision, though? You put a guy back in at this point. He was obviously limping when he goes back onto the field.
I think it's entirely his call. I don't think it's a decision by the coach. I think Napoleon Kaufman has the latitude to come into a football game when he wants to and to pull himself out when he's tired. So he wants to be in there. And I think that's just another example of his leadership. And a lot of players right now could be sitting on their helmet bearing their heads.
Huard back for the final time perhaps today. And Mark Bruner, the big tight end, makes the catch and battles down to the 36-yard line. And with 9 seconds left, they'll move the chain, stop the clock for that. Now there's a fight going on.
We may not finish the game. There's fans erupted on the football field. And the PA announcer is trying to tell them that this game is not over, but it's going to take a little bit of work to get everybody off. This is reminiscent of the BC against Notre Dame earlier this year when fans ran on the field. Or when Kansas State beat Kansas, we saw this. And
one goalpost that may not live to see the night.
I'm amazed they were actually able to get people off as quickly as they did.
And you can see that goalpost becoming less sturdy. And one guy runs back onto the field. Huh?
Yeah, and he's going to wind up in jail right now. Foolish fan.
One guy you can arm tackle out here.
15-yard mark. Set the chain, 1st and 10.
Well, they have reason to be excited, the fans do, but, you know, this is intruding into the game, and there's no call for people running out on the field and disrupting the game now, especially since they've been able to restore some order on the sidelines.
So with 9 seconds left in the game, Washington will have one last play. If they get it off, and it does not look as though they will. And here come the fans once again, and the players will try to get off the field before they're swarmed by all the students. What a win for the Oregon Ducks. They had not beaten Washington in the 5 previous meetings. This is a series that has been played now 88 times. And you look at what happened elsewhere. Arizona, a 10-point victory over UCLA. No surprise, but don't forget, the Wildcats come here to Eugene next week. Don't forget Monday night, ABC back on the air with the Oilers against the Eagles. That's at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. And a look at the conference standings right now, Oregon 3-1.